when I see the written word and I get an idea in my head if I choose the title or if I read through the lyrics.
The flamboyant piano legend Sir Elton John may dazzle audiences worldwide with his sequined outfits and spectacular performances. But beneath those bedazzled glasses lies one of music's most brutally honest voices. Throughout his 5-decade career, Elton has never hesitated to speak his mind about his contemporaries.
No, they want their own act. They don't want Elton. They want my piano playing, but they don't want the typical Elton.
What's the point of being in this business if you can't speak your bloody mind? He reportedly once declared to The Guardian. From rock icons to pop sensations, Elton's razor-sharp critiques have spared no one in the industry. His musical feuds aren't just random outbursts. They're the judgments of a man who fought his way to legendary status and holds strong opinions about what constitutes genuine artistry in music. Today, we're counting down the 6 bands that found themselves on the receiving end of the piano legend's most scathing criticisms. The relationships that soured, the comments that stung, and the musical differences that created unbridgeable divides between Elton and some of music's biggest names. The Rolling Stones, the most enduring of Elton's musical grudges, centers on rock's eternal bad boys, the Rolling Stones, a band whose longevity rivals his own, but whose approach to music making couldn't be more different. The tension first bubbled to the surface in the mid-70s when both acts were at their commercial peaks. During a backstage encounter at Madison Square Garden, Elton reportedly dismissed Mick Jagger's solo aspirations with a cutting remark, "Darling, not everyone can pull off both the band and solo career. Some of us were born for solo stardom. Others should stick with their day jobs." What particularly irritated Elton was what he perceived as the Stones' refusal to evolve musically while maintaining their rebellious image. In a 2011 interview with Rolling Stone magazine, Elton didn't mince words. "What's so rebellious about still trying to be the bad boys of rock in your 60s? True rebellion is musical evolution, not the same 3 chords for decades." The feud intensified when Elton's theatrical approach to performance began outshining the Stones' straightforward rock shows. According to Keith Richards' autobiography, Mick was reportedly furious when Elton's elaborate Madison Square Garden performances in the 70s made the Stones' shows look primitive by comparison. Elton's response? If they spent less time trying to look cool and more time on the music, maybe they wouldn't need to worry about being upstaged. Even in recent years, the animosity simmers. When asked about the Stones' 50th anniversary tour in 2013, Elton reportedly told an interviewer, "Celebrating longevity is one thing, but shouldn't there be something new worth celebrating in those 50 years?" Oasis. The explosive rivalry between Elton John and Britpop sensation Oasis perfectly encapsulates the clash between old-school musical professionalism and the brash new wave of 90s rock attitude. Elton's relationship with the Gallagher brothers started cordially enough, with the Piano Man even inviting Liam and Noel to his mansion for dinner in 1997. But according to a former assistant present that night, things quickly deteriorated when Noel dismissed Elton's music as dad rock. Elton reportedly fired back, "At least my dad didn't have to listen to your whining for an entire childhood." The feud escalated publicly when Elton criticized Oasis's notorious unreliability during their 2000 world tour. In a BBC radio interview, he remarked, "The mark of true professionalism isn't how many hotel rooms you trash. It's showing up for the fans who paid good money to see you. Some of these young bands think being difficult makes them authentic. It doesn't. It makes them amateurs." What seemed to particularly infuriate Elton was the Gallaghers' dismissive attitude toward musical craft. After Noel claimed in an NME interview that anyone can write a piano ballad, Elton reportedly told his inner circle, "Let's see him try." There's a difference between banging out 3 chords and creating something that lasts beyond next week's charts. The tension reached its peak at the 2000 Brit Awards when Elton allegedly confronted Liam backstage about his behavior. According to a stagehand who witnessed the exchange, Elton delivered a blistering assessment. "Talent without discipline is just noise, darling. And right now, you're the loudest noise in British music." Electric Light Orchestra. Elton's disdain for Jeff Lynne's Electric Light Orchestra represents one of music's most fascinating clashes of artistic vision. A battle between two piano-driven acts with dramatically different approaches to pop orchestration. The animosity reportedly began in 1975 when both artists were creating lushly orchestrated rock albums. According to a studio engineer who worked with both, Elton dismissed ELO's sound as overproduced circus music with delusions of classical grandeur. When ELO's Evil Woman climbed the charts while Elton's Island Girl was slipping, Elton supposedly told his band, "Anyone can make hit records when you've got 40 bloody violins drowning out the melody." This competition intensified when critics began comparing their production styles. After a music journalist suggested ELO's symphonic approach represented the future of pop, Elton reportedly fumed during a recording session. "If the future of music is buried under synthetic strings and pretentious arrangements, I'll happily stay in the past where the songs actually matter." The rivalry wasn't just musical, it was philosophical. Elton believed in the raw emotional power of songwriting, while Lynne pursued a meticulously crafted sound. During an interview promoting his 1976 album Blue Moves, Elton couldn't resist a dig. "Some people think orchestration means musicality. It doesn't. It often means hiding mediocre songwriting behind a wall of sound." Despite their commercial successes running parallel for years, the two never collaborated or publicly reconciled, a testament to how deep artistic differences can run even between two of rock's most accomplished pianists. As Elton later reflected to an interviewer, "Not every disagreement in music ends with a handshake. Some are permanent creative differences." Queen Elton's complicated relationship with Queen reveals how personal chemistry and artistic differences can create an enduring musical rivalry despite public appearances of friendship. The tension reportedly began in 1974 when both Queen and Elton were recording at the same London studio. According to a sound engineer present during those sessions, Elton dismissed Queen's bombastic approach as theatrical nonsense masquerading as rock music. When Bohemian Rhapsody later eclipsed Elton's Island Girl on the charts, he allegedly told his manager John Reid, "Anyone can have a hit if they spend 3 weeks layering vocals. Some of us prefer to get it right the first time." What particularly irked Elton was Freddie Mercury's flamboyant stage persona, which many critics compared to his own. During a backstage encounter at Live Aid in 1985, Elton reportedly quipped to his entourage, "Darling, there's only room for one queen in British rock, and I've worn that crown for years." The rivalry took a personal turn when Mercury began collaborating with mutual friends. After Queen's work with David Bowie produced Under Pressure, Elton supposedly remarked to a Rolling Stone journalist off the record, "Freddie's always been desperate for artistic credibility. Some of us don't need to borrow it from David." Despite these tensions, Elton maintained a public friendship with Mercury, particularly during Freddie's illness. This complex dynamic reveals how professional rivalry can coexist with personal respect, a nuance lost in many of Elton's more straightforward feuds. As he later confessed in his autobiography, "In this business, your fiercest competitors are often the ones you secretly admire most." Moby Elton's contempt for Moby represents the classic clash between traditional musicianship and electronic production, a generational divide that Elton never hesitated to voice. The animosity first surfaced in 1999 when Moby's album Play started dominating charts worldwide. During a backstage interview at the Grammy Awards, Elton reportedly scoffed, "Button pushing isn't musicianship. Some of us spent decades mastering our instruments before claiming to be artists." When told about Moby's classical training, Elton allegedly dismissed it as irrelevant when all you're doing is sampling other people's music. What particularly infuriated Elton was the critical acclaim Moby received. After Rolling Stone declared electronic music the future of pop, Elton reportedly told his band during rehearsals, If the future of music is sitting alone in a bedroom with a computer, I'll happily retire tomorrow. Music is about connection, something these electronic hermits will never understand. The tension escalated when both artists were booked for the same European festival in 2002. According to a stage manager, Elton refused to share catering facilities, reportedly saying, "I don't break bread with people who break records apart for a living." Even as electronic music became increasingly mainstream, Elton remained steadfast in his criticism. In a 2010 BBC interview, when asked about Moby's influence on modern music, Elton didn't hold back. Influence? Is that what we're calling it when someone takes other people's work, adds a drum beat, and calls it their own? In my day, we called that something else entirely. While many of Elton's feuds eventually cooled with time, his disdain for electronic music and its poster boy Moby has remained one of his most consistent positions, a testament to his unwavering belief in traditional musicianship. The Beatles, Elton's relationship with the Beatles, particularly the solo careers that followed their breakup, showcases how personal friendships can coexist with blistering artistic criticism. While Elton formed a deep bond with John Lennon, collaborating on Whatever Gets You Through the Night and appearing in Lennon's final live performance, his views on the other ex-Beatles were considerably less charitable. During a 1976 interview with Melody Maker, Elton allegedly said of Paul McCartney's Wings, "Watching a Beatle make mediocre music is like watching Michelangelo paint by numbers. It physically hurts to witness." His disdain for George Harrison's spiritual direction was equally pointed. After attending Harrison's concert for Bangladesh, Elton reportedly told his drummer Nigel Olsson, "All that mystical nonsense is just a cover for running out of decent melodies. If I have to sit through one more sitar solo, I'll need therapy." But it was Ringo Starr's solo efforts that received Elton's most cutting remarks. When Starr's 1974 album Good Night Vienna was released, Elton supposedly quipped to a record executive at a party, "Darling, being the fourth most talented Beatle is like being the fourth most interesting color in a box of 3 crayons." What made these criticisms particularly stinging was Elton's status as an artistic peer, someone who had achieved comparable commercial success. After McCartney's Band on the Run received a Grammy nomination, Elton allegedly told Rolling Stone off the record, "The Grammys have become a retirement home for fading legends. Some of us are still making relevant music without riding the coattails of our 60s glory days." Despite these barbs, Elton maintained that his friendship with Lennon proved he wasn't simply dismissing the Beatles' legacy, just the directions some members took afterward. As he wrote in his memoir, "Great bands rarely produce equally great solo careers. Sometimes lightning only strikes once, and trying to bottle it twice just leaves you with an empty jar." From rock legends to electronic pioneers, Elton John's musical feuds reveal as much about his own perfectionism as they do about the artists who provoked his ire. Throughout his career, Elton has remained unapologetically outspoken, wielding his opinions as fearlessly as he plays his piano. These feuds weren't just about personal dislike. They represented fundamental disagreements about what constitutes musical authenticity. Whether criticizing the Rolling Stones for their stubborn adherence to formula, Oasis for their lack of professionalism, or Moby for his electronic approach, Elton has always championed traditional songcraft and live performance above all else. As he approaches his 6th decade in music, Elton's feuds have become as legendary as his hit records, a testament to an artist who refuses to separate his music from his convictions. If you enjoyed this musical exploration of Elton's most notorious rivalries, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe for more music history deep dives, and share your thoughts in the comments. Did we miss any infamous Elton feuds you know about? Drop your knowledge below and join the conversation. Next week, we'll be diving into the wild world of band breakups that changed music history forever. You won't want to miss it.